Rise, Meg.
The Force will be with you.
Hello my dear friends and welcome back to my channel. I'm Star Wars Meg, here to give you all of the news from a galaxy far, far away. So in today's news update we're going to be talking about Kylo Ren and why it's almost impossible that he will be the one who kills Grogu. We're also going to be talking about the Book of Boba Fett and a potential cameo for Rotta the Hutt. Before I dive into the news, please may I ask you to hit like down below, subscribe to my channel if you're brand new and welcome if you are, and make sure you hit that notification bell to be alerted each and every time I post new content to the channel. You can expect daily Star Wars updates from me. Now without any more jibber jabber, let's dive straight into it. So this has been on people's minds ever since the season 2 finale when Luke came to take Grogu with him so he could train in the ways of the light side of the Force. Some people wondered, since Luke had a Jedi Academy which we saw burned down in The Last Jedi, will Kylo Ren, or rather Ben Solo, be the one who kills Grogu? So Den of Geek have an article which explains why it is possible and why it's not possible, and I'm for the side that says that Kylo Ren will not even be involved in future seasons of The Mandalorian. So let's take a look at what it says. No one really wants to consider the edgiest villain in the galaxy touching a hair on Grogu's head with malice. But The Mandalorian takes place at a time when the events of the sequel trilogy are already being seeded. All this, the lawless Outer Rim and the ineffective New Republic police will be swallowed up by the First Order eventually, and Grogu has a long enough lifespan to see this and many other governments rise and fall. How might his story intersect with the sequel trilogy timeline? Thanks to the season 2 finale The Rescue, we now know that Luke does indeed take Grogu as his student to be trained in the ways of the Force. In the years immediately after Return of the Jedi, Luke is busy learning all he can about the old Jedi Order and building his own academy, the same one we'll see burning in flashbacks throughout the sequels. But we must consider that there's a lot of time between The Mandalorian and anything we've seen elsewhere. Let's run some numbers. The Mandalorian takes place in 9 ABY. Meanwhile, The Force Awakens takes place in 34 ABY, and Ben Solo was born in 5 ABY. The Academy existed until about 28 ABY, at which point Ben destroyed it and became Kylo. Just 19 years after the events of The Rescue, Grogu won't even be 100 years old. He'd still be a child in terms of Yoda species age, so it's almost certain he'd be alive when Luke's academy fell. But Ben's betrayal wasn't an organised massacre like Order 66 was. He doesn't go from room to room striking down students in the same way Anakin did in Revenge of the Sith. In The Rise of Kylo Ren, we learn Ben is surprised by his own dark side powers. His anger leads to large storm clouds forming over the temple that strike it with lightning, burning it down and killing most of the other students inside in the process. At one point, Ben tries to run into the temple to save whoever is left, but is knocked back by another explosion of lightning. A mysterious voice in his head tells him that the fate of his fellow students is Luke's fault, and it's pretty clear in the scene that this is Snoke's voice, compelling Ben to commit atrocities and become Kylo. Ben does kill the 3 Jedi survivors who chase him after the massacre, but even then he seems hesitant to take their lives. It seems at this early stage in his transformation that he wouldn't have the stomach to kill a likely still defenseless Grogu. So what if Baby Yoda was trapped in the burning Jedi Temple? We already know he can protect himself from fire with the Force, as he did in Redemption. That said, this is all speculation. We don't know where Grogu's story is headed next after Luke takes him. Judging by how timidly Disney has been about exploring more of Luke's post-Return of the Jedi story, it seems likely that we won't learn more about his academy for some time, especially as the books and some of the shows turn to the High Republic era. That means that there will be almost 2 decades of Grogu's life that will likely remain unwritten for the next few years. Anything could happen to Grogu in that time. There's even the chance that Kylo Ren could encounter Grogu much later, before the official emergence of the First Order, but after his fall and Luke's self-imposed exile. But let's be honest, is Grogu's time away from The Mandalorian really going to stick? From a narrative standpoint, it would be surprising if Grogu and Din Djarin were really apart for long. The bond between the child and his surprise father figure is at the core of what's made the show so successful. So why would Disney want to break from such a captivating formula? They wouldn't. We know there are definitely more seasons of The Mandalorian coming, and with Pedro Pascal on board, the little guy probably will be too. But the question is, will Kylo Ren end the baby's story? Probably not, except maybe metaphorically, in that the sequel trilogy pretty much exists in a different universe from what's happening right now on the show. But maybe that will change. After all, it's still unclear whether Moff Gideon is using the baby's DNA for Emperor Palpatine's Snoke project or something entirely different, like an army of Force sensitives. So given the timeline, it's unlikely we're ever even going to see Ben Solo in the future of The Mandalorian, and even less likely that he will be the one who ends Grogu's life, as many people have suggested. But let me know what you guys think of this down below. Do you think Grogu will have a run-in with Kylo Ren at some point? Or will Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau avoid this path at all costs? So now, my dear friends, it's time to talk about Road to the Hutt. The Hutt that seemingly a lot of people have forgotten, except for a user on Reddit who has stated that it is possible we will see him in the Book of Boba Fett. Now that Boba Fett and Fennec Shand have taken over the throne of the criminal underworld on Tatooine, it could be the case that an older Rott to the Hutt could be after Boba to rightly inherit the throne himself. Road to the Hutt, who was nicknamed Pedunky Muffkin, was a male Hutt who was the son of Jabba. During the Clone Wars, he was secretly kidnapped by the Confederacy of Independent Systems, which was orchestrated by Count Dooku. While he was but an infant in the Clone Wars, at this point he's most definitely alive and well in the post-Empire era. In terms of Hutt's age, he would most likely be a young adult, making him the perfect candidate to be an antagonist to Boba Fett in the Book of Boba Fett, which drops next December 2021. What do you guys think? Do you think we could see another Hutt return in live action form? I think it'd be pretty awesome. I had completely forgotten about this character until I saw this post on Reddit. So now finally we're going to be talking about Giancarlo Esposito, who has revealed his unique process for becoming Moff Gideon. The first thing to note is that he's a huge Star Wars fan, and he stated that he's always loved Darth Vader. In his own words, Giancarlo has stated, "I was always fascinated by Vader. I thought that inside of that very, very hard and coarse exterior could be a human being that had the ability to bring some light to our space odyssey in the galaxy." On the first day of filming, Giancarlo Esposito had to carefully decide how he was going to approach the role of Gideon. "My first day of shooting, I came down a TIE fighter and I landed," Esposito said. "And then I'm ushered into what is a standoff with 300 stormtroopers. And all I can think in my brain is, I'm Moff Gideon, I don't have to say or do much, because I'm going to get what I want." The first day of filming laid the foundation for Esposito's exploration of the Moff Gideon character. He then says, "And so the standoff was the beginning of me finding the balance of who this character is." And I would say it's very clear the Darth Vader influence on Moff Gideon's character overall, in terms of his stature and how he holds himself. So that is all of the news I have for you guys today. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, be sure to give this video a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you next time. I'm Star Wars Meg, wishing you a phenomenal rest of the day, no matter where you dwell in the galaxy. Have a good one.